In this ITSC 1401 video, I'm going to show you how to create a GitHub account and start using it as a web page. I'm going to go into a new folder, or rather a new tab in my browser, and I'm using Firefox. It doesn't matter what you're using. I'm also using a Mac. It doesn't matter if you're on Mac or PC. They both work the same, just about. I'm going to go to github.com. And I'm going to tell it to sign up for a new account. I'm going to pick a username, something that I can remember. Why not ITSC 1401? Pick an email address that I can get to and get the verification. So I'll just put ITSC 1401 at my magic server and pick a password that I can remember. Although I'll probably be using similar usernames throughout sites, I make sure that my passwords are always different. I'm going to verify that indeed I am a human. Click on verify and do a little puzzle, basically make this figure stand up. And it didn't take me that long, and I'm done, and I'm going to say create this account. I'll save the information for now so that I don't have to type it in when I come back. Make sure that for this class you pick the free. For your subscription, it doesn't cost you anything, and it's up to you if you want to hear more from GitHub. I already get enough information from them, and I don't need to set up an organization, so I'll click on continue. Then it has a little survey. What is your level of programming experience? I'd say I'm somewhat experienced, and I'm learning to code. Probably gonna host a project. I want to collaborate with my team, but I only have up to 3, so why not say schoolwork? What am I interested in? Well, that's up to you. I'm just going to say web design tools. Oh, every space actually will. It's just one word, so web design. Why not? Submit. You can skip this step, I guess. And I'm going to verify my email address. I have my email open elsewhere, and I have verified it. And it gave me, if you're doing this at home, it's going to send you to a new window. Basically, I'm just going to come over here and go to that window. I wish I had more space. So I'm going to the new one, and this is what that window looks like. It's telling me to create a new repository. And basically, think of repository as your website space for this class. It's a repository is just a place where you can dump in all kinds of files for your projects. And it will tell you when you change them, that is who worked on them. It's just a way to keep track of your progress. Repository name, and this is going to be, I have to be very specific about this. My username, your username, whatever it is, type it in. It's going to be ITSC 1401 for me, and then dot, and github.io. So your username .github.io. If you start out with a repository with this name, with this in the same fashion, don't call it this because this is mine. If your username is username and somehow you get a hold of that, then your repository name would be username.github.io. And it's going to be called that because this is the naming convention for free websites on GitHub. You could call it anything you want. It could be my project. It could be web design. It could be anything that is appropriate and fits in there. Then I'm going to give it a little bit of a description. I'll just say my website for ITSC 1401. Although it doesn't need to have a description. I'll keep it public because I want this to go out on the web, and I'm going to say yes to initialize this with a README. I'm going to click on create repository, And now I have created an account, and I have a new repository that's called itse1401.github.io. What was important about creating this right now is that now I have a little bit of access to this site. The repository looks like any directory might look on the web. If you have used Dropbox or Google Drive or OneDrive from Microsoft, and you have stored files in directories online, you'll see similarities. Repository consists of basically the same things. Right now it's telling me that my site is ITSC1401, or at least my username, and my repository is ITSC1401. You'll see the slash. This is my root folder, itse1401.github.io, and I'll explain what the root folder is later in the class. If you know any web design, then you know what a root folder is. That's where you start. And then directories and files will be spread out along the path here of breadcrumbs using slashes, just like you would on a website, because for all intents and purposes, this is a website. A readme.md, you're going to see some MD files. MD is Markdown, which is very much like HTML, except that it's not markup like HTML. It's its own thing. We'll be talking about that in class. For now, know that itse1401.github.io, or whatever your site is, has been created, and my description is here. I want to create at least one new file, and that's going to be an index file. So I'll click on create new file, and it's telling me that it's going to be inside of this repository. Right now I only have one, that's my only choice. Later on you can have multiple repositories, and if ever you want to have really large projects, you'll probably be paying for the service, which is not that expensive, and have way more access to other things. I'm going to name my file right here index.html, and then I have an edit new file right below. This is my text editor. We're going to be using a separate editor on your computer, but you can also do all your editing online on GitHub. We will also be doing some things on CodePen. So now I have this, and the first thing I want to do is to have a little message that says hello world, exclamation point. There's no coding, there's just hello world. I just want to make sure that this site works. I'm going to scroll down and tell it to commit new file. It's already put a little comment there for me, create index.html. That's what I've done. I can have an optional extended description. You know, I can say I built a website for my class, or whatever you want to put there that describes your work. And we'll talk about what branches are maybe later. Right now, don't worry about it. Just commit your new file, and it'll tell you you can learn GitHub without any code. You can read the guide. That's up to you. We'll probably be doing something with it later. My repository has been created, and has a comment. The README says my website for ITSC 1401. We can always change that by clicking on Edit. There's going to be edit buttons. There's going to be little pencil icons. My README can be changed by clicking the pencil icon. I have my initial commit with the readme.md, the markdown file that has this information, plus the index.html. Notice the extension .html as opposed to .md. So HTML and markdown files can coexist within the same space. If I click on index.html, it'll tell me where it is. It's on my repository in the master branch. It's called index.html, and it says hello world. If I wanted to edit this, I could click on the button to go back here and say hello world, and after that say this is going to be fun or something. I still haven't even seen this page, but I know it's out there. I'll click on commit changes, and I'm going to go to a new tab. I'm going to keep this one open for now. I've seen some students just highlight this and copy it, or you could type it if you want. I highlighted that. I'm going to paste it over here, and and I'm going to see what's going on. My GitHub, itse1401.github.io, this is my website. It works, it's secure, and it gives me the message. It's all put together because I didn't add any code. We'll be talking a lot, about HTML coding. This is just text, so the computer doesn't recognize the spaces and the returns, but now my page works. So how great is that? This is how to create a GitHub account and get your GitHub page going. The next video we'll be adding a little bit of code and changing your page so it actually makes a little bit more sense.